Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 236 of the podcast, or you're joining me live on Facebook or YouTube. Hopefully, I am on Wi-Fi that is very not stable. So if you're seeing this live, you may see the only video version of this episode. I might just post the audio because I'm recording that separately. Today is Sunday, April the 11th. I am in Cedar Key, Florida, taking a long weekend with the family and my in-laws for my mother-in-law's birthday. Jeff the Animal Wilson won't be able to jump on today. He wanted to record yesterday. I was busy. I wanted to record today. He was busy. So here we are, folks. One-man show. Real quick, let me remind you guys, if you want to grab some MMA on the Rocks gear, t-shirt, hoodie, tank top, you can do so through our friends at Team Reaper. Reaper1.co is the website. You can use the promo code MMAROCKS10. That's MMAROCKS 10, the number 10. So save yourself some money there. And you can also buy some gear to support other fighters. You know, everybody's always saying they wish fighters get paid more. Well, Team Reaper gives fighters the opportunity to earn more money by selling t-shirts. And they are very good to the fighters as far as giving them commission on the t-shirts as well. They have training gear, MMA gloves, jiu-jitsu gis, all that stuff. So go ahead, get over there. Use promo code MMAROCKS10. Save yourself 10%. All right, so let's talk about some fights, shall we? Mark Fellows looking forward to a Whittaker fight week. Of course, always going to support the Australian fighters, and rightfully so. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about supporting your country and not supporting other people's countries with Rose Namajunas' recent comments. I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to get into that or not. Let's talk about the fights last night. UFC on ABC 2 at the Apex in Las Vegas. Marvin Vettori, Kevin Holland. I feel like I just watched this fight a couple of weeks ago. Marvin Vettori following the blueprint laid out by Derek Brunson. The biggest takeaway I had from this fight is how good Derek Brunson's wrestling is, because Vettori obviously was having a much harder time getting Kevin Holland to the ground than Derek Brunson did. Dominant performance, though. Credit to Kevin Holland for stepping up on short notice, but you kind of had to figure this one was going to go this way. And he had moments where he was tagging Marvin on the feet quite a bit. He had the quicker hands, he had the quicker feet, but then he would back himself up to the cage and engage in the clinch. And then once he engaged in the clinch, Marvin took him down. And this happened several times, and he did it against Derek Brunson too. I don't know if it's just, a bad habit where he just instinctively clinches when he gets crowded. That could be. The other thing is, I think he's just a little bit too small for this middleweight division. If guys aren't going to stand with him and they're going to smother him, that's the way it's going to go. It's hard to get up from the ground when you're a lot smaller. I think he only weighed in like 183 or something like that. Feel free to correct me on that, folks. But yeah, maybe 170 is the place for him. People are saying he needs to work on his wrestling. He just faced two really tough grapplers. Don't forget that Marvin Vettori was able to hold Israel Adesanya down too. So don't just come to the conclusion that Kevin Holland sucks at wrestling. There are some high-level wrestlers in this division. There are at 170 as well, but at least that size advantage isn't there for his opponent. So I think that might be a better place for him, because the things he was doing weren't technically wrong. He just got overpowered. And against Brunson, he got out-tacticked. I don't know. You would think I have a master's degree in English or something, which I do. Evidence not shown today. I'm a little bit tired, obviously. I decided to just jump on and do this podcast, by the way, while my daughter's napping on the couch over there. She just passed out. So my wife and in-laws went out for drinks. So technically watching the kiddo while I'm recording this podcast here. Fight in the night for me was Arnold Allen and Sadiq Yusuf. This was a good one. A little bit back and forth. Yusuf, coming on in that third round a little bit. I think two of the judges gave that third round to him. Arnold Allen, man, this guy's got some power for like a lanky guy. He was able to put Sadiq Yusuf down twice, I think, almost finish him. We saw that Sadiq Yusuf has an incredible chin. And Arnold Allen did the right thing, not rushing in on Yusuf, because obviously he's got a lot of power in his hands as well. So smart move by Arnold Allen, not rushing in on Sadiq Yusuf when he had him hurt those couple of times. Great chin on Yusuf. And this was just an awesome fight. Very dramatic. Much like the ending to the fight before that, Julian Marquez and Smiling Sam Alvey. I thought he looked good physically at 185. But, he's just one of those strange cases where I feel like he's just better at light heavyweight. And don't forget, Sam Alvey used to fight at 170 when he was coming through the Ultimate Fighter. He was a welterweight. He was much thinner back then, but like the guy just does well. Like he packs more of a punch at light heavyweight, and some people just have a frame that's better suited to be a weight class up as opposed to cutting down. Because I know it's kind of contradicts what I was just saying about Kevin Holland needing to move down to 170. But Kevin Holland has a different kind of frame. He has more of that ectomorph kind of frame, whereas Sam Alvey is just built a little bit thicker. So he looked good physically, but he looked very flat. It looked like he just couldn't find his rhythm. He couldn't get his movement going. And Marquez was able to tag him up quite a bit, almost damn near knocked him out in that second round, and kind of did him a favor by putting that choke on, and then quickly took that favor back by putting him to sleep. It was a pretty vicious standing rear naked choke. And luckily Mark Smith realized pretty quick that Sam Alvey was unconscious and stopped the fight. It was nasty, man, because if you guys didn't see this fight, you have to go back and see the finish of this one, because Marquez had a rear naked choke. He was in like a standing squatting position. So he was putting all of his body weight on Sam Alvey's head to crank down on his windpipe and just cut off the blood flow to his brain. It was brutal. It was vicious, and it was very impressive on the part of Marquez, who, after a long layoff, is now in there with back-to-back wins by submission. So, he's looking pretty good. Especially in that last fight where he's getting his butt whipped, and then James Krause told him right before the third round that he had to finish it to win, and he went out there and got a submission. So, big things for Julian Marquez. His post-fight stuff is a little weird. Like the last time he asked Miley Cyrus to be his Valentine, and this time he called out some football players to a badminton match. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It seems like some inside jokes. But whatever helps him, keep it light, keep it playful, and keep him on this winning streak, I guess, I'm not going to be too critical. Mackenzie Dern, masterful jiu-jitsu against Nina Nunez, now formerly Nina Ansaroff. I thought, Nunez thought she was going to have the striking advantage, and she's not wrong as far as technical skills. Obviously, she's far more skilled of a striker, but when you just get rushed like that, it's hard to get off any technique. And I think it took Nunez by surprise. She was expecting to get rushed in with a takedown. It was probably working her takedown defense a lot, but she wasn't expecting to get rushed, with fists flying at her face. Mackenzie Dern, a lot of people, kind of praising her growth as a striker. I didn't see it so much from this performance. I thought the punches were just being thrown as a distraction so that she could get in on the takedown. She did hit a beautiful takedown, beautiful leg sweep off of a single leg. And then it was like elementary from there. Submitted Nina with just like 8 seconds left in the round. Nasty armbar. Nina did a good job of defending it, but when you're in that spiderweb position with a high-level black belt, the caliber of Mackenzie Dern, she's going to be doing everything she can to take that arm home with her. Let's see, Daniel Rodriguez and Mike Perry. This was concerning. Shout out to Dan Tom, because he's the one who pointed out that Mike Perry struggles against southpaws, and that's something it never clicked with me until he kind of said that. I never usually pay attention to which way fighters are standing, especially because so many fighters switch stances now. You don't even know half the time, what their natural stance is. I know fighters who are southpaws and they fight orthodox every single time, so nobody knows that they're strong from the southpaw stance. But yeah, man, Mike Perry just got pieced up. He did okay, getting Daniel Rodriguez to the ground, and he's got heavy top pressure, but on the feet, man, he was just taking a beating. And yeah, he's got a good chin, like he could take a shot, but that's not the foundation you want to be building a career off of. Being able to get blasted in the face. It looked like he had a broken orbital. He had several hematomas on the side of his face. That's not healthy to keep doing that to your face. He's had fights where, the Vicente Luque fight, I think it was, where his nose was completely smashed in. It's concerning. And then, there's whatever issues were going on with his coaching staff. I don't even know. I've kind of tuned out of the Mike Perry drama just because, some of it gets me a little bit frustrated. So I tend to tune out when stuff is going on with him, personal stuff and knocking out old men at bars and stuff like that. Just I don't like hearing stuff like that. So I'm kind of tuned out on whatever drama's going on with him. But great performance by Daniel Rodriguez. Just 1-2 right down the pipe. It was working every time. And the biggest problem that I noticed with Perry was he was moving straight in and straight back. And when you're moving in a straight line, it's easy to get hit with those straight punches that are coming right down the pipe. He wasn't really circling out much. And I guess he didn't have a coach to tell him to do otherwise. I don't know who was in his corner. I don't know what was going on there, but adjustments need to be made because it's not like he's an unskilled fighter. I mean, I think he just really needs to get his personal life together, whatever's going on there, and get some coaches who can actually wrangle him and get him focused and get him disciplined, because that's the only way he's going to have a future in the sport. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to be long before we see Mike Perry in a bare knuckle boxing fight or something like that. Let's see. The prelims. I was kind of in and out on the prelims, I'll be honest with you guys. I did see Joe Salecki against Jim Miller. Miller kind of got lucky in that first round where he was able to get on top of Salecki and win that round. But then, it was all top pressure from Joe Salecki. Not the most entertaining fight, but, impressive that he was able to hold down a grappler the caliber of Jim Miller for 2 rounds. So, big credit to Salecki on that. Jim Miller, I think his 37th UFC fight, which he passed the record for most walks to the octagon. So that's awesome. I will never miss a Jim Miller fight as long as he decides to keep doing this. I've been a fan for a long time, but credit to Joe Salecki for being able to hold him down. Matu Scamrot knocked out Scott Holtzman in the second round. This was a fairly dominant performance by the Polish fighter here. He looked good everywhere. He looked, Matt Temple says Mike Perry should be be KFC's spokesman. He probably will be. I imagine UFC's not going to let him have too many more performances like that before they let him go, especially with this cutting fighters rampage they've been on lately. All right, so back to the Polish guy against the hockey player. So Gamrot looked good. His wrestling looked really solid. And obviously he's got power in his hands. He put Holtzman down hard. Good job by Jason Herzog stopping this one. Minute 22 into the second round. Gamrot made a splash, man. I wish he would have called somebody out specifically, which if he did, I didn't hear it in his post-fight. Again, I was kind of in and out on this. His only loss is a split decision loss to Guram Kutadaladze, and that was back in October. So that was obviously a close fight. Super well-rounded. He's only 30 years old, but again, it's hard to stand out in this lightweight division, especially lately, because there's just so many killers in that division. It's so stacked. John Mcdessey over Ignacio Baramonde. Baramonde missed weight for this one, so I was glad to see Mcdessey get the win. I tell you guys all the time, I'm never really rooting for or against anybody except people who miss weight. So Baramonde misses weight. He had like a 35-inch reach advantage. He was 6'3" compared to Mcdessey's 5'8". But Mcdessey did a good job closing the distance and landing the bigger shots and, blowing Baramonde up. That was a pretty good fight. Donho versus Jorgen De Castro. I was telling you guys I was looking forward to this one last week, and I missed this fight, but it looked like it was a knockout in the first round, 3 minutes, 2 seconds for Donho. So, I want to go back and watch that one. Guys, let me know your thoughts on that. I'll definitely have to check that one out. Jack Shore with a split decision over Hunter Azure. I'm sure that was probably a good scrap. I didn't catch that one either. Luis Saldana, unanimous decision over Jordan Griffin. And Da-Un Jung getting the unanimous decision over William Knight. Sorry, read that. And this one I definitely need to go back and watch. Impa Kasangane against Sasha Palatnikov. Kasangane getting the second round rear naked choke. 26 seconds into the second round. So I have to see what led up to that. You guys let me know if there's anything else on the prelims that was worth checking out. For those curious, I'm sipping on some Old Forester 86 proof. This is one of my go-tos and happens to be the wife's favorite whiskey. So whenever we travel, I usually bring along a bottle of that. And it happens to be the only thing I have in reach. So I may have to go grab something else. Going to be here until tomorrow afternoon. So may have to grab some more booze. There was Bellator as well. I heard Ryan Bader beat Lyoto Machida. I didn't hear anything else about that card. It happened on Friday. So if there was anything on there worth watching, let me know. And I probably won't watch it because it's Bellator. Unless you tell me like something really wild happened. But then I feel like I would have seen it on Twitter. I would have seen a highlight or a clip or something on there. Let's take a look at next week's card. And this looks awesome. I have not really looked at this card too closely yet. And it looks really good. All right, so we got the main event, Robert Whittaker and Kelvin Gaslam. So Gaslam stepping up on short notice, fairly short notice, to fill in for, I believe it was Paulo Costa who pulled out of this fight. Mark says he watched Bellator, but he can't remember anything about it. That's pretty much what I figured. I can't imagine anything too crazy happen. All right, so Whittaker and Gaslam, this is a really interesting fight. On paper, Whittaker should win this one, but the problem is that when Kelvin Gaslam is supposed to lose fights, nobody tells Kelvin Gaslam. because these are the spots where he tends to show up and shine the brightest when he's like a big underdog, which I imagine he is against Whittaker, especially coming in on short notice. You can't discount the toughness of Kelvin Gastelum. Again, skill for skill, Whittaker is probably light years ahead of Gaslam, but I'll always remember what Chael Sonnen says about Gaslam. He said he couldn't figure out what he's good at, and then finally, after the whole season of The Ultimate Fighter, he figured out the thing he's good at is winning fights. I always thought that was funny because I guess Gaslam has this reputation for, being the opposite of a gym killer. You have these guys who perform really well in the gym, and then they get under the spotlights and nothing comes together. Apparently, Kelvin Gaslam's the opposite of that. He gets tossed around in the gym, but then when the lights are on him, that's when he does his best work. I think this is going to be a really exciting fight. Both of these guys have a gritty style. None of them are really like stallers. You've seen Robert Whittaker even like on one leg still coming forward against Yoel Romero. Can't deny the toughness of that guy, in addition to all the skills advantages he has. Co-main event, I didn't even know this one was happening. Jeremy Stephens and Drakkar Klose. There's no way that this fight is not fireworks. These are two guys who both love to throw heavy leather. If this one goes the distance, it's going to be bloody. It's going to be a bloody mess. I can promise you that much. So I'm really looking forward to that fight, actually. Let's see, where are these going to be? This is going to be at the Apex as well. Andrei Arlovsky and Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman has been in and out of the UFC more than anybody in recent memory. Like, he's come and gone a couple of times, and I can, with one click, look it up. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it at it's been a bunch of times. So he's an exciting guy. He throws really hard. Arlovsky, man, the longer he's sticking around, the closer he's coming to like a 500 record, 30-20 right now. I can never, like, part of me will always want to see Arlovsky win just for the nostalgia, because I've been watching him fight since back in the day, the wars with Tim Sylvia and everything in between. He's had a couple of resurgences in his career, and even fighting outside of the UFC as well. So that's something him and Sherman have in common. So this should be a fun heavyweight fight. Then we got Abdul Razak Al Hassan fighting Jacob Malkoun, who's 4-1, and I am not familiar with him, so I am going to make the extra click on this one. And let's see, he's got one loss. It was a knockout loss in his last fight, which was in the UFC. I don't know what this guy's deal is. If you guys have any additional information on him, please let me know. And I'm getting FaceTime called by my wife right now, so I don't know what's going on, but let me text her back real quick. Sorry, folks. So Al Hassan against Malkoun. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this one. Al Hassan, obviously crazy explosive knockout power, and he's going against a guy who got knocked out in his last fight and only has 5 fights. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but okay, Mark is telling me that Malkoun is Whittaker's training partner. Mark, are you drinking out of a shoe in your profile picture there? I love the T-shirt. You're wearing an MMA on the Rocks T-shirt, but is that a shoe you're drinking out of there, my friend? Let's see, Luis Pena and Alex Munoz. Munoz only 6-1 as well, so another fairly inexperienced guy, and you're all familiar with Violent Bob Ross. He never puts on a boring fight either. So that's a good one. Bill Algeo, who's coming off of that win over Spike Carlisle. He's fighting Ricardo Ramos, Tracy Cortez, and Justine Kish. I'm going to jump around a little bit here. Jessica Penne, who was supposed to fight Hannah Goldie a few weeks ago, is going to get in there against the undefeated Lupita Godinez. Oh, Gerald Mearshart fighting on this card. He's getting in there against Bartosz Fabiński. I don't think I've seen that guy fight for a while. Yeah, not a whole lot going on around the bottom of this card. So let's see. I'm going to give you guys my sleeper fight pick is going to be the Luis Pena Alex Munoz. I think that one's going to be a really exciting one. I know Pena wasn't able to fight in his last contest because of some COVID stuff, I believe. Alex Munoz is coming off of a loss in his last fight. And yeah, that's about it for this card. Okay, Mark confirmed that he is drinking out of a shoe in his profile picture. So there's that. Yes, I am. Well, good on you, Mark. I'm still not going to commit to doing one of those shoeies that you're such a fan of. All right, sorry, folks. I'm a little bit distracted right now. People coming in and out, and I'm trying to look up some things as well. Probably should have prepared a little bit more, but it's just not my style. I had to jump on here real quick. Not like I ever prepare anymore. So other weeks when I do the show, like maybe I put a little more thought into what I'm drinking and telling you guys about it. All right, the Rose Namajunas stuff. I'll get into it real quick because Twitter was going crazy this morning. Basically, she did an interview. I'm not even sure who the interview was with, but people were sharing this soundbite of her saying that Weili Zhang represents a communist country. And I'm paraphrasing here. She represents a communist country, and that's motivating her to get ready for the fight because she'd rather be dead than go red. Yeah, this was awkward, man. It's awkward anytime, like, you make it personal based on somebody's background, like the country they come from or their religion. It's obviously a very sensitive area, especially now with Zhang coming from China and, us here in America blaming the coronavirus on China and things like that. Things get very tense. A little bit of background that will, definitely not excuse her behavior, but maybe connect the dots a little bit more. Rose is Lithuanian, and not to give a history lesson to you guys, but Lithuania, as well as some of the other Baltic area countries, was invaded by communist Soviet Union and was, and they were only won their freedom, as late as like 1990. And during that time, there was a lot of genocide going on against the Lithuanian people. And then once capitalism was instated in Lithuania, it kind of revived the economy. And there's a big feeling of we can never go back to communism because the communist Russians were murdering our people and destroying our economy. And then once we switched back to capitalism, everything was great. The economy was thriving again. So Rose sees Weili as coming from a communist country, and for her, that's lighting the fire in her to get motivated for this fight. And listen, if you talk to enough fighters, you're going to find wacky reasons why they're motivated for fights. Most of us are never going to understand why they get in there in the first place. So whatever extra motivation they need to get in there and compete is on them. But once you say something out loud about somebody's country or where they come from or their religion or anything like that, that's when it gets uncomfortable for everybody. So yeah, she probably shouldn't have said that. But just to give you guys a little bit of background where she's coming from, as someone from a Lithuanian lineage, maybe I could, give you a little bit of extra information that won't make you beat her up too much. But Yeah, she's definitely going to take a hit for this one. Probably worse than when she was saying she was traumatized from the bus incident from Conor McGregor. She took a pretty bad hit from you guys on that one as well. I mean, just realize too that she's just a human being. So, sometimes we just say things that pop into our head and maybe don't even fully mean them. I don't think that, I don't know Rose personally, but I don't think she really thinks like she's fighting for her freedoms as an American against a fighter who happens to be from a communist country and carry the flag of that country. I think it's probably just like something like a motivational tactic she's using in her training to get through some hard sessions. And, maybe she said it out loud. All that being said, I'm not making excuses for her. I'm just trying to possibly shed a little light on, where she's coming from. I definitely don't condone the fact that she should think that she's getting in a cage fight and it's, the United States versus the evil communist monster China. I definitely don't believe that. I hope that she doesn't believe that either. I hope it was just something she was saying for dramatic effect or something to that extent. In any case, and don't listen to what I'm saying about the history and everything either. I'm not even convinced that that's fully accurate. But you guys can do a little like Googling, from what I remember from history class and stuff like that. I think it's somewhat accurate, but I'm not that great with dates and stuff. I drink a lot of alcohol and I get punched in the head. In any case, that's it. That was this week's card. Next week's card we got wrapped up. So got a lot of exciting things going on in MMA. Good fights lately. I'm looking forward to this card next week. I know Mark is definitely looking forward to next week's card with all these Australian fighters on there. It should be a good time. And we're going to see where this middleweight picture shakes out, because obviously with Vettori's performance, I don't think Stylebender is going to be too anxious to give him that rematch. I think the most likely so here's our options. Vettori and the winner of Whittaker and Gaslam. I think the most likely scenario is if Gastelum wins, he gets that rematch, because their fight was so competitive and was so good when they fought for the interim title. If Whittaker wins, it would have to be in dominant fashion for him to get the title shot. And I think as long as this upcoming fight is impressive, the winner of that will get the title shot. Just because Marvin didn't do anything that kind of would get Adesanya to bless him with that opportunity, so to speak, because he's going to be the one making the call. I don't think the UFC is going to step in on this one. I think they're going to sit back and wait to see, where there's a little bit of heat, where there's a little bit of friction, and how this Whittaker-Gastelum fight kind of shakes out before they try to force Adesanya's hand. I think he's got a little bit of leverage there as far as choosing his next opponent, especially after stepping up in weight, taking on the light heavyweight champ there. He seems to be calling his shots the whole way, and I don't imagine that'll change. So somebody's got to do something to get his attention in this performance on Saturday night, because I don't think Vettori did it. And that's just me talking. I didn't hear Adesanya's comment on the fight at all, but there's that. And then you've got, Costa still around. I don't know what his deal is. You got Brunson, who looked good in his last fight. And then obviously Darren Till is going to be sidelined for a while with broken collarbone. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in the middleweight division. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. Should be back regular time next week with Jeff. We'll try and coordinate a little bit better next week. He had a lot of stuff going on today, and obviously I'm on vacation. So once the kiddo decided to take a random nap, I opened the laptop and poured myself a whiskey and jumped on here with you guys. So thanks for checking out the episode this week. Thank you, as always, for all the feedback, all the criticism. I do take it all to heart. I may not listen to all of it because at the end of the day, I just got a show to run, but I do appreciate it every time I get it. Sharing the episode so other people find out, reviewing wherever you happen to be watching or listening or consuming the podcast. I appreciate all the reviews you guys leave. And the drink recommendations. You guys have been coming through with some good ones lately. I got a long wish list of whiskeys and beers I need to be checking out. One more reminder, if you want to get some MMA on the Rocks gear, you can do so via our friends at Team Reaper, reaper1.co. I'll put all the links in the show notes wherever you are watching or listening. Promo code MMA Rocks 10. It's MMA ROCKS10. And grab yourself MMA on the Rocks t-shirt, hoodie, or tank top, or some other cool gear. They make some really cool rash guards now too. I have my first rash guard on the way, so I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know how that one is once I get to try it out. For sure. All right, if you guys want to get a hold of Jeff, give him a hard time for having plans and being busy on a Sunday, you can do so at animal_Wilson on Twitter and Instagram. And you guys know how to get a hold of me. It's at MMA on the Rocks everywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can email me, MMAonTheRocks@gmail.com. And Mark says, don't forget, he's got triple IPAs on order for the triple title fight at UFC 261. Could get messy. I like that you're doing a themed beer event for UFC. That's awesome. All right. That's it. That's all I got for this week. Quick little episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Until next time. Cheers, everybody. Goodbye.